Shalom. First off, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to the hopeful elect that are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. And to all my brothers out here preaching this truth, to you I say Shalom. This is Amatazar from the Chicago camp coming back at you again with another lesson entitled, How Do You Begin to Talk Reparations? So, what we're seeing in the news at this late hour is the talk in 2026 about reparations. All right. And this is not in just America, this is all over the earth. So, the talk is how do you provide reparations to those descendants of slavery? All right. So, I want to try to make this lesson not too long. I want to keep it short. So, let's jump in. So, what are reparations? Most often, the word reparation is used in relation to money. It's given as an acknowledgement of wrongful, unlawful conduct and to repair the harm caused by or as a result of this conduct. Under international law, victims of crimes under international law and human rights violations have a right to reparations. The word reparations refers to measures to redress violations of human rights by providing a range of material and symbolic remedies to victims of their families as well as affected communities. Reparations must be adequate, effective, prompt, and should be proportional to the gravity of the violent violations and the harm suffered. I'm going to read that last part again. Reparations must be adequate, effective, prompt, and should be proportional to the gravity of the violations and the harm suffered. Wow. Now that's going to be pretty hard. It's pretty hard to answer that. How do you begin to pay or begin to talk reparations dealing with the gravity of the violations and the harm suffered? All right, so let's talk about just a few of the things. We're talking about millions of people being kidnapped. We're talking about the horrible Middle Passage, okay, where I read one stat where there was 120 million people that were um, that died during the Middle Passage, okay. So you got the Middle Passage with disease and starvation and dehydration and abuse. All right. You got the systematic torture and the corporal punishment of enslaved people, okay, who were whipped and branded, mutilated, and otherwise tortured to enforce obedience. Physical violence was embedded in plantation discipline across the Americas. Sexual violence and exploitation. All right. So we're talking about our women being considered their property, right, and violated at a desire, any whim, any desire, and any result of any children coming from that automatically went into slavery. All right, families separated. How do you put a price on that? How do you begin to talk reparations for the extreme labor for the sugar, cotton, and the tobacco fields? The legal codification of dehumanization. Okay, we were three-fifths of a man. The suppression of culture and identity, and also the massacres to suppress voting. All right, all the massacres that were done to stop the so-called Jake from voting. Okay, and no one was found guilty. So GPT, all right, lots of questions you can ask it. All right, so the question was asked about why the sudden talk about reparations. It says ongoing historical reckoning and institutional acknowledgement. Momentum from years of activism and scholarship continues to push reparations into public and political discussion. In the United States, or the U.S., state and local governments are studying or pursuing reparations for the legacy of slavery, segregation, lynching, and discriminatory policies like commissions and proposals in Maryland and Atlanta area communities. Local Evanston City Reparations Program has been implementing direct payments to Black residents, stirring renewed interest and legal challenge, bringing national attention to practical reparations models. Legislative and governance efforts. In the United States, various bills and resolutions continue circulating, like uh, the H.R. 414 and the H.R. 40 that formally call on Congress to reckon with slavery's legacy, keeping the issue in the policy spotlight. All right. So right now you see a whole bunch of talk about reparations. All right, but the reality is, you ain't gonna get no reparations on this side. Forget about it. All right, the reparations that we're looking for, all right, is the kingdom. Okay, we're looking for reparations, but the reparations that we're looking for, all right, is going to be paid in blood. This is Second Thessalonians 1 and 6. It says, seeing it is a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. Okay? All right. This is Luke 18 and 1. Let's talk about this parable. And he spake a parable unto them to this end, that men ought always to pray and not to faint, saying, there was in a city a judge which feared not the Most High, neither regarded man. And there was a widow in that city, and she came unto him, saying, avenge me of mine adversary. And he would not for a while, but afterward he said within himself, though I fear not God, okay, nor regard man, yet because this widow troubleth me, I will avenge her, lest by her continual coming she weary me. And the Lord said, hear what the unjust judge saith. And shall not the Most High avenge his own elect, which cry day and night unto him, though he bear long with them? I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith on the earth? Okay? So the Lord is telling you through this parable that he is going to avenge Jake. Okay? He's going to avenge the Israelites. All right? This is 2 Esdras 15 and 8. I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. And therefore, saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them, and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. All right, so here we have two passages where the Lord said he will avenge. Okay? He will avenge. He will avenge the righteous blood. This is Genesis 4 and 9. See, Esau think that, once he kill you, right, he don't have a price to pay. This is Genesis 4 and 9. And Yahweh said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? And he said, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. All right. See, this thing is spiritual. All right. And it's way deeper than Esau could imagine. The blood cries out. Okay. This is number 35 and 33. So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. All right. So the land can't. The land is defiled by blood. Okay, and it can't be cleansed unless the person that shed the blood. Okay, that person has to die. It's got to be cleansed by the blood of him that shed it. This is Revelation 13 and 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. Okay, so the saints, all right, the Israelites are patiently waiting, all right, to put those in captivity that had them in captivity, all right, and kill them with the sword. They killed them with the sword. And it's going to happen. Isaiah 14 and 21, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquities of their fathers. All right. So soon as you talk to Esau, Edom, he'll tell you, I didn't have nobody in slavery, but you did. Okay. Because you are your fathers. It says, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. For I will rise up against them, said Yahweh of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name, the remnant, and son and nephew, said Yahweh. All right. So, yeah, it ain't gonna be nobody left here. Nobody left here in Babylon the Great. This is Sirach 41 and 7. It says, the children will complain of an ungodly father because they shall be reproached for his sake. So all over the earth, we're seeing, this is an example even with the Epstein files. You're seeing that Esau is that man of sin, that man of blood. And you're hearing reports of people eating children and drinking blood, which we already knew and was already saying. Because this truth explains exactly who the man is. And you can deny it if you want to, but this truth also tells you how he's going to be punished. Okay? So he's exposed, the Bible exposing Esau, Edom, and he's also telling them what his punishment is. And it's coming. Okay? This is Job 20 and 10. His children shall seek to please the poor, and his hands shall restore their goods. Okay? So you got some Edomites, they talking about it. They talking about reparations. They're slowly realizing that they were in the wrong, but this whole place is divided. All right. So for every one of them that does understand or realize how fucked up they are, it's two or three of them that's gonna be like, so so what? We gonna apologize that we took this place over, But that's that proudness. But it's okay. But a house divided can't stand. And in closing, this is Revelation 18 and 20. Rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for the Most High have avenged you on her. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall that great city, Babylon, be thrown down, and should be found no more at all. All right. So America, the time is slowly approaching. The talk of reparations. How do you begin that conversation? All right. How do you begin to pay for the kidnapping of millions and the middle passage and the torture and punishment and the whipping and the branding and the mutilization? Okay. And the physical violence, the sexual violence and exploitation, the separation of families, the extreme labor for sugar, cotton, and tobacco, the codification of dehumanization, the suppression of culture and identity, and all the massacres to suppress voting, all right, where no one was found guilty. How do you begin to talk reparations? I pray that this lesson has been edifying. Until the next one, Shalom.